My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's really getting to be fall-like here in the South. Leaves are starting to fall off the trees, but they're all getting yellow and green here in the South. We don't, and the colors, and football's happening. Georgia won their opener last night against Auburn. All the flags are flying. For those of you who don't live in the South, the SEC is king. So is the ACC. But everybody and their mother, I'm a Yankee living in the South, so I never experienced this when I was growing up. But everybody in the South on Saturday gets their flags out from wherever they went to school, Tennessee, Arkansas, wherever, Florida, and they're flying the flags. It is the most craziest thing you've ever seen. But when it's football day on Saturday, everybody and their mother, Georgia's king here, in the state, and so is Georgia Tech. Let me not, I'm going to be equal here. But anyway, big game, 7:30 prime time, and they just crushed the Tigers. So it was good to see, and I think they're ranked number 4. But listen, it's always a good week, because everybody's positive starting the Monday. The Bulldogs are well. We got the Falcons playing tonight, so they're 0-3. They're probably 0-4 at the end by the time I end this podcast. But anyway, that's besides the point. So anyway, we got a great episode tonight. One of my all-time favorites, actually. This person graced our cover of our magazine back in 2005, and I've known him forever. He's been on both the end user side as well as now he's on the project management side, as an owner's rep, et cetera. And we want to welcome Mr. Rick Migiorelli. Did I pronounce it right? I know it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
He's with JLL. He's the Senior Vice President of Project Development Services. He's located up in the New York metro area, I think over the river in New Jersey, correct?
Correct.
Well, say hello, Rick, to our Commercial Construction Coffee Talk listeners out there.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen anybody, so I guess this is the closest we're going to get to that. So it's nice to reach out and have a little chat today.
I'm an event guy. I was doing events once a month around the country, and we normally would have done our New York event last month, and since March, everything's been done on Zoom, and hopefully the vaccines will come in, and we'll get back to seeing everybody. But this is the reality, and if you're not on the road and so forth, either you could do FaceTime, Zoom, WebEx, whatever it might be, and but it's definitely different. We're social animals. We're not built to be in caves. So if this is the best that we can do to connect, hey, we got to take it. But you know what? I was looking through my archives. I was like, I know I've got that issue someplace. I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, there it is.
I may still have one copy hanging up on my wall somewhere.
Hey, and I'm like, hey, you're looking good. You're all clean shaven. You're wearing a tie and a suit.
Now I have the COVID look.
Yeah. Listen, I got the COVID. I told my wife, actually, I only shave once a week. It's for the podcast. But you should see my beard. I mean, I was looking like Grizzly Adams. It was getting bushy because I don't shave during the week. And I've been working out of my house forever. So, but every Monday night, I know I got a podcast coming up now. And so I got to trim because it's getting there, So my wife's like, where are you going? I'm like, hey, I got to go shave. I got to get a recording done here. So anyway, Rick's been on both sides. So he can actually give us a really good, the reason why I wanted Rick on was he's up in the Northeast in the mecca of retail. So he really can give us a real bird's eye view of being there in the thick of things at ground zero, basically, when the pandemic started. And, let us know, what's going on in the retail world. But also, he's been on the other side of things. So he has a good thought process of how things work, how they've evolved, all the different things that he's seen and what he sees coming down the pike. So I think you'll really enjoy our conversation. But Rick, First things first.
Sure.
Got to tell us your saga. We want to know where you grew up, where you went to school, how you ended up in retail or construction, how many kids or dogs. We want to know all that stuff. And then we'll get into, the business side of things. So the floor is yours. Let's hear the Mr. Rick story.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, David. I guess the story began back in northern New Jersey, where I started my career as an architect. I went to architectural school, New Jersey Institute of Technology, and I passed my licensing exam, and I was going to be an architect, and that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life until, well, what happened was that I wound up working for a large architectural firm, but during that time, was freshly married, new kid born, my first child, my daughter was born, and my wife said, hey, there's this great architectural position right here about 2 miles away from home. It's, it's for a company that everybody knows. I go, well, I have a really good job. I work for Gensler, one of the biggest architectural firms in the world. And that company turned out to be Toys R Us. So that's where I started kind of like my
Paramus.
Yeah, Paramus, New Jersey, 1 mile away from my home. And that's how my my career started on the client side or on the user side of the equation, doing architectural project management services internally for the development department at Toys R Us. And eventually that went on to other retailers.
Come on, you got to throw them all out there.
Okay, Bed Bath & Beyond, Ann Taylor, Stephen Barry's, for blasting the glass.
Ann Taylor, here he is. Ann Taylor built all those stores way back when.
Right, and then I wound up working for a contracting firm in between during the last recession, and so it was kind of like an in-between gig. And one of our clients was JLL, and JLL, I had dealt with JLL from a perspective of retail kind of projects. And the person leading the department there decided, to offer me a position within JLL, performing what they basically performed for, my whole career, project management service, but as an outsource or as a, as a supplemental resource to owners and businesses and retailers out there. So once again, I'm married. I've got 3 children who all have graduated from college.
Nice.
Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina.
Ooh, the big 3. SEC. I'm surrounded by them.
I've been through about 20 SEC games, head-to-head, house divided, the whole deal. So
which campus do you like the most?
I got to tell you, it's a tie between Georgia and Auburn. Auburn is like kind of a smallish, like small town village kind of feel.
Oh yeah.
And Athens is a little bit more citified, if you will, or a little grittier. But the campus, the buildings themselves are beautiful. And I like Stanford Stadium better than Jordan Hare, because Jordan Hare, you just die heat exhaustion.
Right.
It's so hot in the plains there, no matter what. But the tailgates are unbelievable.
Oh, no. I mean, like I said, there's nothing like SEC on a Sunday afternoon, even if you don't even go into the stadium. It's just a freaking scene, Yeah.
And so, and we have, 3 kids. They're all out of the house, except for the Georgia graduate who just graduated. And they're, he graduated, unfortunately, with the COVID class and back in May.
Online.
So, online, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we're faced with all sorts of these challenges all across our lives, for not only professionally but also personally. And I was just mentioning to you and kind of our preamble that we have a dog, and it's a rescue dog from Korea. It's a French bulldog named Winnie. So that's that kind of family. Mentioned a little bit about my background and years with retailers, and then joining JLL about almost 10 and a half years ago, almost 11 years ago.
You say it's been a while.
And that long. I went on to, from the owner's side of the equation to the resource side of the equation, the provider's side of the equation. And it was a really interesting kind of completion of my career, being a user and being within an organization and understanding how retail organizations function, and then providing those services. And I spent most of my time, and a lot, as David, a lot of folks transition that way
Hmm.
in the business, and some are successful at it, and some of them have a hard time.
They have to go back to the other side.
You have to go back to the other side because of not only the cadence, but also the mentality and the mindset. And I had to learn that mindset. But JLL is a really good organization. They actually train you in terms of the mindset being you're servicing as opposed to being serviced. And so I would remember when I was someone who procured resources, what the special touch points would be to trigger a decision in a positive way, or to look at a resource positively versus just as a commodity, right? A value-added kind of approach to it. And so it kind of, on this side of the equation, I've developed, hey, would I buy our services if I were on the other side? That's always part of the thought process, the concept. What's the value add? We all perform things. There's dozens of project management firms that perform well. And there's dozens of, consultants, architectural firms, engineering firms that perform really well, and they're pretty close in terms of performance. I mean, some a little better than others. So really, the focus has been, through the years of my experience, what is the value add that a service provider can give you, other than just performing that service? So what is the value add that goes beyond the commoditization of that service? And so, that's where kind of like my focus has been here at JLL, in servicing all sorts of retail clients out there. A lot of folks that I still knew from way back when, that as well. It's a pretty kind of close-knit organization.
Oh yeah, we're a small community.
Yeah, like we all cross paths, and it's funny because, I used to be somebody that, and you remember from the photo days, that I took vendors very seriously, because, I understood the plight, but I always looked for the ones that kind of differentiated themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What was the value add that they brought to the plate? What was that X factor? What was that partnership equation of what they did and how they presented themselves? And, where's the kind of good partnering mentality, and how to kind of get everything to mesh like nice gears, between like what we need to do internally as an organization versus how we service folks and clients out there. So it's been interesting journey.
The really interesting thing is the people like that you started on the end user side, basically. Well, you were an architect first, but then you ended at Toys R Us and went through your brands. The interesting thing is that when people make the jump to the other side, that they see actually how the end users actually treat the vendors, and
Yes.
it's eye-opening. And that's the biggest thing, that the people see how, and they're like, oh my God, I can't handle this. I didn't realize I was tough to deal with.
Yeah. So,
I want to go back to the other side and be on there and have the power or the control, where some of the people that jump over and they see it, but they say, you know what, I actually can do this and help these people. And those are the ones that are successful. And it must have been eye-opening.
Yeah, it was tremendously eye-opening. The other thing too was how service providers are looked at as commodities versus partners, because unfortunately, as a client or a user, you tend to be of the moment, and you are, deal with the tyranny of the urgent, and so you don't think of long-term relationships. You tend to commoditize, and hey, I have to get resources in here. Who's ever cheapest is, whoever gives us the best bid, and that's it. I don't have time to talk about, value-added equations and what else can be done in terms of quality control.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is, and let's all be honest, we tend to kind of shove off a lot of vendors from a user side. I mean, as a user, you have a limited amount of time. Sometimes you don't mean
to hire all of them.
You're not yet. You don't mean to be rude, but you just can't answer everybody. Can't meet with everybody. But let me tell you a piece of advice for everybody there that works on the client side and is a user, having been on both sides. It's a really good idea to keep a good relationship with a vendor group. because it not only helps you in networking, but it helps you in shared practices and best practices. And it also helps you in general during these tough times where everybody tends to band together, both clients and users, to kind of help each other out. And this goes from everything like finding, I have a lot of folks that came from the retail world that are sending me resumes.
Oh yeah.
And, so, and this is the time that this is the thing you need to always keep in mind. We're a close community. It's not a very large community. It's a couple thousand people that all kind of know each other. A lot of us have been around for a while. It's always good to be respectful, give people the time when you do have it. And if you don't have it, give a response. And make sure that you are in touch with your vendors and you actually leverage them as a resource beyond just what they're providing. So,
I always tell people, look, when you make the move, you always want to leave on a positive note. The best time to get a job is when you have one, but this is a whole different story during the pandemic. And because you never know when you might end up, being with that person, or that person might be your boss, or whatever the situation is. I mean, and with social media, word travels fast.
oh, absolutely.
And I get no all day. I just, I don't be a pest. I'm just like, okay, look, I'll leave that advertisement randomly. When you're ready, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
And let's also be honest. I have people within our circles that attend your events, attend other events and competitors, that we are lifelong friends, and we've never done business with each other, but we're lifelong friends. Like call up for advice. I mean, they're vendors to this day. We laugh about it that I've never used in my owner world, that they're like great friends of mine. And we talk about career options and, life in general and so on and so forth. So really value the relationships that, folks like you bring together, where the users and suppliers really value those relationships above and beyond the actual services transacted. That would be my biggest kind of lessons learned in life from being on both sides of the equation.
Let's talk about, talking about the pandemic and all the change. And, as I always start out, hey, January was a great month. We did our summit, had the most attendees. I did my Florida event. I'm looking at hotels. March comes, everything gets shut down. No one knows what's going to happen. Now it's October. The freaking darn bug is still here. I mean, the president just got infected, but just got out of the hospital today. And whichever side of the aisle, hey, look, the guy, let me tell you, now the guy had it, and he knows a lot. So I haven't had it, so he's experienced it. So I want to hear what the guy has to say. So, but regardless of that, the talk about, you were at ground zero up there, up in the New York, New Jersey area where everything started, and talk about, just how things kind of evolved, what JLL did, and coming in now kind of out of the pandemic and getting back to, basic, hopefully normalcy.
Yes. So it's interesting because, we were like ground zero for the US, right? I mean, it basically came over from Italy, if you will, right, through New York, and then New York became a hot spot, New Rochelle, and so on and so forth. It was pretty scary, to be honest with you. I've never, ever experienced anything like it. I mean, people didn't know, like, how deadly this thing was, how contagious it was. So, like, we were in lockdown. I mean, real serious lockdown where, I would be the one to go out to the pharmacy, and my wife would be the one to go to the supermarket, and let's limit the trips. I mean, that's how serious.
Oh yeah.
We were all like, at that time we didn't know. We were told, wearing masks, not wearing masks. We were wearing masks, wearing gloves. Remember, everybody wear gloves, then nobody wear gloves. And leave your groceries. We were leaving our groceries outside for 24 hours at the beginning of this, because that's how the information was all over the map, and everybody was trying to err on the side of caution. I mean, taking your shoes off, leaving your jacket outside. It was, I've never experienced anything like that. Also, I have relatives in Italy that were Facebooking me about what was going on there was horrifying. The hospitals were just couldn't handle it. They didn't have enough ventilators. You know, you're hearing those horror stories, you know, like, oh my God, it's happening over here. So I think a lot of fear is from the unknown. It is definitely contagious. We've had people in our town. Our town's about a village of Ridgewood is about 25,000 people. And we've had, you know, 30, 35 people die. Most of them were elderly, but there were still some folks who were 7 or 8 who unfortunately passed away from the virus. I don't know the particulars in terms of comorbidity and so on and so forth. So it was really hit close to home because this area was so concentrated. Our county had about 2,000 people die in our county alone. And, you know, once again, it was one of the first places hit. And we are a satellite of New York City, like commuter-wise. So there's trains, there's buses, and that stuff must have gotten passed along like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
On a, you know, in a Sunday breakfast. So it was pretty scary. Now during that time, you know, we were fortunate enough. JLL was, you know, immediately had shut down the second before it really started getting bad. We were ahead of the curve. We are a real estate consulting company, so you kind of know that we've had like a lot of information in terms of, you know how you should be working and going back to work and not going back to work. We are actually re-entering a lot of our clients back to the workplace, all in different stages, all in different areas right now. But it was really, really tough. And our project managers, and we didn't skip a beat. We worked through, out of the 430 projects that we had, our group has, I have about 50 project managers working here in the Northeast, out of New Jersey and New York, tri-state area. Out of the 400 plus projects, I think we had 4 projects put on hold.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was alive because we're fortunate, as you will know, with multi-site retail.
Right.
Other areas of the country weren't bad at all. I mean, some of them, even down in Atlanta, it was still.
No, we didn't stop. They kept on building. I mean,
yeah, they kept on building. So in New York, we stopped. Basically, the 3 projects were, you know, 2 in New York and 1 out in California. And they shut down because nobody was allowed to work except for essential projects, and even certain essential projects were put aside. The other factor here is that we do have a lot of clients who are essential services, essential retailers, pharmacies, you know, large food distribution type companies, communications companies, even though it's retail, communication retail. And those are all considered essential. So we had to do, there was a paradigm shift. We were already, we had a little of an advantage because we provide project management remote to clients out there and other major companies out there. They're usually remote or they're within the locale of the project as opposed to being at the headquarters of the client because there's an economy in terms of motion and in terms of management. So that was a little bit of an advantage. It was a fortuitous advantage that most of our project managers are located near their projects. And so unless their project was put on hold, the project went through and the site visits were still going through, but we all had to follow the protocols involved in social distancing and so on. It wasn't easy, but you know, with project management, there's about 75% of the work can be done remotely. Everybody's basically working remotely from their home offices and such. We had shut down offices until July, and then we had a phased A week, B week, certain percentage of people in the spaces. And I've been back to our offices since July. So I've actually been going to work 4 days a week and sitting there, you know, and following all the protocols. I have to wear a mask, and there's all sorts of types of social distancing. So, you know, I was talking to, I think I was talking to my son the other day. I was just like so impressed with just American ingenuity at getting through things. I mean, between the restaurants around here, which were completely shut down, unfortunately, we had a lot of businesses go out of business, but the ones that had some wherewithal, you know, are opening outside, doing outside cafes and tents in their parking lot. We're getting through it as Americans, and we're finding a way because we know we have to adapt. We can't just completely be curled up in a fetal position, locked up somewhere, sitting, inside our homes and not moving. This is a very dangerous thing. And like I said, we're ground zero. But, the good news is, even though schools have opened up again, it has spiked a little bit in this area, but it's nowhere near the kind of hospitalizations or the death toll that, that seemed to have been kind of dealt with, through the experiences that we had at the end of the spring and beginning of the spring, when we didn't know what this thing was, and we were all kind of doing what I was mentioning before, which was just basically, completely paranoid, wearing scarves and masks and gloves and leaving everything outside before you would take it inside, and disinfecting everything like crazy. One could only hope that, we have the vaccines in place shortly so we can go back to traveling, because that's another weird thing. I mean, I haven't been on a plane in 7 months. I think that's the first time in 20 years.
Oh yeah, I was in Milwaukee when the whole thing went down. I was looking at hotels, and I haven't traveled since. I drove up to my sister's 60th birthday up in Ohio. It was a 7-hour ride. I took my son, and no masks in Georgia or Tennessee. You hit Kentucky, Ohio, you had to go in. First time I stayed in a hotel, plexiglass around. It looked like a convenience store at the Hilton Garden Inn. Brand new hotel built, and you go in and you check into your hotel room, and they've got a seal on the door that it's been sanitized, and it's a whole different experience. And like you said, until they get the vaccine and the therapeutics, whatever it might be, you got to learn it. But that's the reality of it. And we have a couple of minutes left. I'm just curious. A lot of the people that I have on here, they all say that they've been more productive using technology and Zoom. That their meetings go quicker. They're more productive at home. Do you see that, like, JLL's got offices all over the world, and
right,
especially all over the country? Do you think that, they're going to let their people, a lot of people are saying, that they're going to let their people work out at home, then make them come into the office where they have to burn gas, go through rush hour and that kind of stuff. What's JLL kind of thinking there?
Okay, I think it's going to be a hybrid solution. Number one, we're never going to be able to cram as many people or as many things in the same box, whether it be an office box or retail box. The spacing and the distancing is always going to be inherent, just like there's, I believe, like the ADA regulations. So things are going to be set up, I think, for the future, because this may be only one of a virus. There may be something else down the road.
Oh, there's going to be something else.
Right. So we're not going to cram those. I think the 6x6 cubes are a thing of the past. Like, there's going to be, so people are saying, well, there's going to be less real estate because less people are going in offices. I think it's a combination. Half the people will be remote, but you'll need twice the amount of space where half the people are left. So the net effect eventually, once we do have a cure or a vaccine, and we have the confidence we can develop vaccines within a year, is that we'll err on the side of caution from a perspective of distancing, but there will always be a need to be present in a workspace environment from the social aspect of it. I mean, I actually was thrilled to death to go back in the office because it's monotonous. I mean, my home is very convenient. I have a nice office, the whole thing, but it's monotonous. You get Stockholm syndrome, like being away from people and not seeing people and talking to people, or even the drive to work was actually, was like something to do. I was like excited for it. Because remember here, we were on lockdown, couldn't go to a restaurant, can't go to a movie. The retail was shut down. You couldn't go into retail, into a retail store, couldn't do a thing. So, it's like starving. And when somebody gives you a cracker, you're like, oh my God, this cracker is the best thing I've ever had. Driving to work was so exciting. Like the first time back, I was thrilled.
Paying the toll. I'm excited, man. I'm on the road.
Right. And so we talk to our clients too, and they say, yeah, well, we have a 90% production, 92% efficiency working remotely. We're rethinking about, keeping all the space. And we remind them that a lot of folks now in our surveys that we've taken want to go back to work because they don't have the space at home to be comfortable working. You know, they have noises in the background. They have kids running around, or they, you know, they want the separation of their life. So I don't think it's this quick, easy divorcing of, yeah, you can just do everything remotely because the technology's there. I think it's going to be more of a hybrid. And I think it's going to evolve into something that we're not even expecting, where there will be a different way, a different way to do things, but still that physical way of doing things is so important for the human psyche and so important for happiness. We're social creatures. We're not
Yeah, we're not built to be in caves.
we're not cave dwellers. You know, we're not. I mean, some of my friends are, but you know, I think it's an important thing to really understand that, you know, the kind of visceral or the kind of reactionary thing is, well, that's it for all office spaces. You know, we're not going to need all this office space. Not necessarily true. They're going to transform into something else. They're going to be safer. They may be safer than you being home working, believe it or not. So I think it's important that that the evolution of these things are happening right now. We're re-entering clients. Most of the clients are skittish, of course, to go back to spaces unless you're a retailer and you want to really be able to sell.
Right.
But
Yeah. Thanksgiving's coming up. They got to get the stores done.
I got to tell you though, here there's still a limitation on how many people can go into a retail store. It's like a certain percentage of they can have a maximum occupancy of
the square foot.
Right? There, I won't mention retailer names, but retailers that never had a line to go in have a line to go in. I mean, I just have a specific.
That's a positive.
That's a positive visually, because I was driving by and I had to get a certain type of instrument fixed. And I was like, oh my God, there's like 35 people online waiting to get in that place. Mm-hmm. Usually that place is empty. So there is this want and need to get, like, people want to use retail as a, you know, as a pastime. It's not shopping online. We all shop online like crazy, but like it's actually got excited going back into stores again, you know, and, you know, being able to try on clothes again and that kind of thing. So I think that that's not dead. I think it's just going to evolve into something that's more of a hybrid.
Out of all the conversations, architects, brands, contractors, vendors, the biggest thing is that just like retail has to reinvent itself every 3 to 5 years, you probably won't even recognize what retail will look like 5 years from now. The same thing is going to happen with the commercial real estate market. Sure, some leases will be broken. Others will take space up. They'll convert those things to other. They're going to have to reinvent themselves as well. And that's a good thing because when you reinvent, that means more construction, more types of fixtures have to be created. They still have to get installed. I never bought into a headline that I would read in a newspaper. Oh, so-and-so is closing 50 stores. But if you read down 4 or 5 paragraphs, yeah, but we're opening up 30 more, you know, brand new ones, you know. Right. And so our retail is it's a funny animal. Same thing with, you know, hotels. Every 3 to 5 years, new paint, new carpet, you know, healthcare a little different, but once again, they're all trying to keep themselves fresh and so everything's gonna be changed. I mean, I look at it as even like supermarkets, they might just be distribution centers down the road where you'll just place your order, you'll go in and you might pick your own vegetables, but everything, boom. Yeah. Movie theater. I can go down the list of all the different types of retailers that are out there that are all gonna. They might look at them today. 5 years from now, they're gonna look completely different. Even if they get the vaccine, they're gonna come up with something else. So it's an innovative thing. I always look at the glass half full, not a half empty. It's partly sunny. It's not partly cloudy.
Also, this recession, unlike the last one, has been artificially induced.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the money didn't really dissipate or go away. It just shifted boxes. Yeah. So, you know, we had a lot of clients, the retailers that really suffered, as you know, in the industry. The folks, you know, specialty retailers.
And some of them we knew that we're gonna close some stores. This was a catalyst. It just pushed that schedule up.
It's just accelerated the process. But also people that, you know, retailers that absolutely need, you know, foot traffic and didn't have strong internet services were going to suffer. You know, over leveraged retailers as well. But there are retailers like some of our clients that are booming. Service, you know, mail order service or essential retail, communications, they're booming. So they're seeing record profits. So really, the money's still there in the industry in retail. It's just shifted boxes, and that will eventually spill back over. I would say that, there's been a lot of folks in our industry that have been laid off who have suffered from this. I don't think it's going to be that long before there's opportunities, but in different kind of variations of opportunities, not your traditional retail opportunities.
I just wrote my column in my September issue. I said, look, the pandemic, some people have got laid off, that they've started their own companies. They went back to school. They joined the military. They took a good look at their lives and what they wanted to do, and have done different things. And businesses had to figure out how they were going to survive. I mean, I was an event guy. After March, I didn't know what I was. I mean, there were sleepless nights, so I had to make a serious decision. So I've now gone completely digital. I have a small little press room, but now I've never had the magazine go to so many people because everybody's been on the web. It's amazing. And now I'm looking at all these different things that where I was a print guy, now I'm really a digital guy, but I'm still a print guy and I'm still an event guy. I'm just waiting to get back to the event thing.
Right.
But I'm still doing them online, which has actually been nice because I don't have to worry about the eggs being hot, or someone doesn't like my hotel, or I don't have to worry about a plane getting canceled. Here I can do it, and you don't have to take 3 or 4 days. You can take a couple hours with me.
Yeah, it probably can reach a lot more people quicker for lower expense too. And so if you think about it, how your business model, once things do get to normal, how you plussed it up is, so there's always, I like to look at, kind of like you were saying, kind of a positive thought, right? My grandmother had a really good positive thought. Like my grandma would help raise me when I was
well, I was going to ask you, if we want you to leave our visitors, because we're getting to where our time is up.
Right.
If you had to leave one positive thought or a word, what would it be? So you're going to use your grandmother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she used to say, be prepared for the best of times. Everybody tries to be prepared for the worst of times or a rainy day and so on, but be prepared for the best of times, because I do believe after all this bad news in 2020 that things are going to start to turn around, and you've got to be prepared for them. You can't just be skeptical. You can't be, you kind of lost your edge or energy. You got to be prepared to succeed. Always have that in your head. So that's my word of inspiration that came right out of my grandmother.
Profound thought. Thank you, Grandma.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they reach out to you?
Okay, so you can reach me at rick.migliorelli, that's Migliorelli, at am.jll.com. Just send me an email and I'll give you all my contact information. Any questions, or you just want to shoot the breeze, absolutely reach out to me.
JLL, first class organization. So if you're a brand out there or a vendor, or if you, like you said, if you just want to shoot the breeze, reach out to Rick. He's been around forever. He knows a lot of people, and he'll see if he can help you. If anyone wants to reach out to me, you can reach me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. If you're not on our mailing list, on my homepage, up on the toolbar, it says subscribe at ccr-mag.com. Hit that, click on it. We'll get you added to the circulation file. We're sending the magazine out to almost 150,000 people with the new issue. We just sent it out last week. And I'm always looking for projects, especially with the pandemic and all the different types of prototypes and new stuff that's coming out. If you have anything really cool, send it to me. I'm always looking for that. I'll find a place for it, either it's on social media and the magazine. We like looking at all that stuff because we like staying on the cutting edge. So with that, everybody out there, it's now October. We got less than a month before the election. Make sure you're registered. Go out and vote. May the best person win and move on. Let's go into the holidays. Get 2020 over. Close the books. And let's look forward to 2021. I've looked at too many political ads on TV. I am done with them. I just want to get the election over and move on. Whoever wins, wins. Done. I'm ready for 2021. It could be one of the greatest years ever. Get the vaccine, the therapeutics, we get everybody done, we get back to our normal lives. And I just think that's a very exciting thing to end on. So with that, Rick, And last but not least, remember, wash your hands, don't touch your face, keep your surroundings, and you'll be okay. And if you do get COVID, you'll probably make it, okay? Because 98.9% of the people, survive. So, God rest all the souls that have passed. I mean, I've known several people that have gotten and went, and I feel terrible, but got to stay positive about everything. So, and you only got one life, and we're all going to pass eventually. That's fact. That's 100% factual. So,
Truth.
I just want to do it later than sooner, whatever it might be. So, with that, Rick, pleasure to speak with you. I hope I see you in person. I was hoping I'd see you in New York at my gig in September, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I'm going to put it on the schedule. September, hopefully during the San Gennaro Festival in New York.
I can't wait.
There you go. I mean, I want to get back to that stuff, and everybody just enjoy the fall. It's a great time of the year, and the holiday season's coming up. And like Rick said, be prepared for the best. I think that's a great way to end the night. So if you want to find us on the web, we're on Spotify, on the podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple. I stream these up on the web and up on our website. So we really appreciate Rick finding the time to speak with us. And everybody have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of October and the rest of the fourth quarter. And we'll see you next time on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. We're signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Good night, Rick. And
good night, everyone.
And everybody be safe out there. Remember, vote. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
All right. See ya.